Welcome back to the channel, and in today's tutorial I'm going to be showing you how to make a Christmas tree in Blender 4.3. Now this was meant to be on Christmas, but I had a lot of things come on and things that were happening, so it kind of got delayed. So now it's the end of the year, it's literally, the last day of the year, and I'm making this tutorial. So I hope you guys enjoy it. We're going to be making a Christmas tree in Blender, and this is it over here. We're going to be using some tools that come in Blender already to make the process a lot simpler. So yeah, this is actually ridiculously simple. Don't feel intimidated by this tutorial at all. This is very beginner friendly, and I will be uploading the final result as well to my Patreon. So those of you on Patreon will be getting access to that. So you can see over here, this is the scene. This is what it looks like. Yeah, so let's hop in, and I hope you guys enjoyed this Blender 4.3 Christmas tree tutorial. So the real magic of this tutorial is going to be a built-in tool that comes with Blender. Now, depending on what build of Blender you're using, it might already be in Blender or you'd have to download it. So I'll explain it to you. So I'm using Blender 4.3. So you're just going to go over here to Edit, then go over to Preferences. And if you go to your add-ons, you should be able to type in here, I think it's just called Sapling. So type in SAP, and you should see it's called Sapling Tree Gen. Now, if you're not seeing this come up in your add-ons, you just have to go to your Get Extensions, which is what I had to do. And then I had to come here to Search Extensions, and I had to type in Sapling over here, and I had sort of Sapling Tree Gen, and then I installed it. Okay, so sometimes that's what you have to do in the newer builds of Blender. One way or another, once you have that add-on, make sure to tick it and enable it so it's active. And then what you can do is you can close this window. And now, let's just grab all of these objects and press delete. You can now go Shift A, you can go over to your curves, and you can now come down and add in a Sapling Tree Gen. Come over here to the Sapling Add Tree settings down here. So by default, the settings here should be to geometry, so make sure that's active. And then you're going to come down here to Load Presets, and let's go with Small Pine. Let's come to the branch distribution and make it 1.2. And let's come here to the branch rings and make it 110, or maybe even more. I think we could probably go with 150. There we go. Okay, that looks a lot better. And then to have it look more like a Christmas tree, we're going to come here to the shape and change it from custom shape to conical. Now let's make some more branches. We're going to go to geometry and let's go to branch splitting. Let's give it 110 over here, where this value is. And you can even add some leaves. So let's go to branch splitting and let's go change that to leaves. So I'm going to click here on show leaves so we can see it. And I'm going to come here and I think I'm just going to make mine 580. You can go higher if you want, but I think that'll be fine for our purposes. And that's it. Now there's a lot of other features here. You can even animate. It has some pre-made animations, so if you want the tree to kind of swerve in the wind or something. But because this is a so-called plastic Christmas tree indoors, there's no really any reason for us to want to do that in any sort of animation. So I'm going to go ahead and just close this. And now we have a nice looking Christmas tree here. Okay, now the cool thing is, if we come here to the drop down, we can see we have tree. We have the tree over here, and then we have the leaves, okay? And it's in, I think, a parent relationship. So if we select the tree up here and we go G to move this, the leaves go along, which is really cool. So what we're gonna do now, in our front view, we're gonna go Shift A, we're gonna add in a camera. And then in our right view, we'll just move the camera back. Now, this is honestly something you can decide how you wanna pose it yourself. I'm assuming you're gonna wanna put this tree into some sort of scene. Then I'm gonna go Shift A and just quickly add in a plane. I'll scale this way up, and then I'll scale it on the X. And obviously this is optional. I'm just adding a quick background, and you can add, like I said, you can add your Christmas tree to whatever scene you're working on. Okay, this is just what I'm doing at the moment. Just adding in a curved plane like this. So yeah, what you can now do is go over to your render settings, change the render engine to cycles. And you can come here and change this to GPU if you have one. If you don't, just stick to CPU. And then under your max render samples here, under the render, you can change it down to 70, should be fine. Just make sure you have denoising enabled. Okay, now before we go any further, let's just add some placeholder materials to our tree. So for now, to make things simpler, let's just come up here and click on the actual tree. over here. You can now see it's active. We'll go to our materials properties. Let's go new and let's just call it bark. You can call it whatever you want. And just so I can see it's applied, I'm going to go down to the viewport display and I'm just going to make this kind of brown. That's optional, you don't have to do that, it's just a viewport aesthetic really. Then I'm going to go to the leaves, I'm going to go give them a new material, call them leaves. And I'll come here to the viewport display and just so I can see, I'm going to give them a kind of greenish color, like that. Okay, now let's make the little ornaments that are really going to make this tree pop. So they're super simple. And I think what I'll do for simplicity's sake here is I'll just press A to select everything and I'll press H just to hide it. And then I'm going to go Shift A, I'm going to go to my mesh options, just add in a UV sphere. And this is super simple, we're just going to tab into edit mode. And holding in Shift and Alt, you can just left click on an edge here to loop select it. Shift D to duplicate, right click to let go. And let's just go E to extrude and Z to extrude it up. And let's just go S to scale slightly, and then E to extrude, S to scale, and then just E to extrude up like so. And when we extrude an edge like this, we can get normal issues. So I'm just gonna go A to select everything, Alt N, and I'm gonna recalculate the outside normals. And if you wanted to, you can go Shift Alt and select this edge. Control B to create a bevel if you want to round it out. But honestly, this ornament, you don't have to go too crazy with the details. You know, it's just keeping it really simple here. Something like this will do just fine. Tab back out, right click and go shade smooth. And let's go to our materials tab and go new. And let's just call this ball. And we're gonna come to the viewport display here. Let's just give it maybe like a reddish kind of color. And let's go plus again and go new. And let's just call this brass. And we're gonna tab into edit mode and just select any vertex on this top bit and go Control L. So it selects the loose geometry and just assign that brass to that. Tab back out, and now the viewport display will give that sort of like a brassy looking color. Maybe drag up to metallic, and I'll do the same with the ball. There we go, now we can see we have this. Now don't worry, we're gonna make a material that'll automatically change the color of the ball, and it's super simple. So we're gonna go Alt H just to unhide everything, bring it back. I'm gonna select our ball here, and we're gonna go G and move it up, S to scale. And you can make this however big you want or however small you want. There are different sizes, and also the scale of your tree is going to determine a lot of things as well. So I'm going to obviously bring this in here, just kind of place one just in here. And now what we're going to do before we go duplicating this, you know, a few times, let's just quickly go Shift A. Let's go to our light options, add in an area light. G, Z, move it up. And with this area light, we're going to go to our light properties, give it a strength of 300. Let's increase that size. And now if we go Z and we go rendered, we can see this. I'm just going to go ahead and maybe just duplicate this light by going Shift D, and I'll have one coming off from the side. And I'll go Shift D again, have one kind of coming off from the side here and more towards the front. And I think that looks good. And then I'll select the background and I'll just go ahead and give that a material, that plane I added in, and I'm just going to make that darker. Oh, I think I just added a viewport color there. I actually need to come over here to the surface and just make it darker in the base color here. There we go. So something like that. And I know that doesn't look very good right now, but if we go over to our shading workspace, we can now in our shading workspace come in here into our camera view. We can go Z and go rendered. And then let's select over here in the top view. Let's just select under our tree here, select our tree. So we have the tree material active here. Let's just come to the base color. Let's just make it kind of like a darkish, kind of woody, olivey color. Kind of like what you'd see on a Christmas tree. And then let's just select the leaves and let's come here to the base color. And let's just make them green and make them a bit darker in value. And let's just bring down the roughness here just to make it look a little bit more plasticky. Now keep in mind, we are looking for a fake sort of plastic effect here because we are making an ornamental indoor Christmas tree. Okay, so this is one of those cases where we do want our material to look plasticky instead of looking like a real leaf with like a lot of kind of like characteristics of a leaf. Okay, so this is looking just fine. It's just sort of material we're looking for, and it's really simple. So now let's select the ball. And with the ball, let's just go to material properties. Let's select the brass first and come here to the base color on the brass. Let's just make it kind of yellowish and then drag up the metallic value here. And it's now applied there. I can see it's over there. And I'm also going to come here to the ball. And so we can have multiple colored balls. We're going to come here where the base color is. We're going to go Shift A, search, and we're going to get a object info. We're going to plug the random into the base color. Then we're going to go Shift A, search, and get a color ramp. Place it on this cable. And then let's change this to constant. And then let's just create another tag here. And in each one of these tags, we're going to make them their own color. So I'll make one red. I'll grab another one and I'll make it green, kind of like this. There we go. And I'll grab another one and I'll make it maybe just blue. Okay. So to be really able to see how this works. Also, by the way, just make this fully metallic and then bring down the roughness a bit, just so it looks like what we're going for. Okay, so now at this point, what you can do is you can just make sure your ornament is at the scale that you want. And then I'm going to go back into my layout for now. And I'm just going to grab the objects that are not the tree, all of these, and I'm going to press M. I'm going to create a new collection and call it stage. I'm going to go create, and over here, I'm just going to come and I'm going to hide that stage so I don't see it. Okay. And then we're going to just select this sphere and we're going to go M and create a new collection. Let's just call this spheres. Okay, because it's going to be a lot of them. And now that's its own collection in there. And we'll just take this tree over here and just drag it into the main top collection. And let's just double click on that and call it tree. So now we have a nice organized scene here. We have our tree, and I'll probably also have to grab those leaves and just drag them into the tree collection. So we can turn that off. We now have our stage we can bring back and forth. And then we have the spheres, okay? So make sure everything but the stage is active or visible over here. Select your sphere, and then in the front view, go Shift D, and you can now duplicate this and place it here. And in case anybody's wondering, yes, you could do a particle system and kind of scatter these on here, but I find it's much nicer just to kind of manually duplicate these and place them exactly where you want, kind of like you would do on a real Christmas tree. It's wherever it looks aesthetically pleasing, and that's something you can't do with a random particle distribution. Otherwise, you have to sit there the whole day changing the seed value until they're kind of lined up the way you want. So I find it's much easier just to come in here, Shift D to duplicate, move them around. So I'm going to keep doing that, and I'll come back because it's a bit of a tedious process. So I'll skip that bit till when I'm done. And there we go. I've just duplicated it a few times. And the cool thing is, if we now go Z and we go rendered, you can now turn on your stage again. You can see that these spheres are now randomly those different colors. So at any point you can go back to your shading workspace, and you can always come here in your rendered view, and you can come ahead and drag these sliders to change your color distribution. So if you want more red, make more of this area here red. If you want more green or less green, you can do the same thing. Okay, so that's a very simple way of doing this in Blender. So yeah, that is a Christmas tree. Let's go ahead and just kind of zoom in, and let's give this a render. Render and render image. And there we have it, guys. That is how you make an ornamental Christmas tree in Blender 4.3. I really hope you guys have enjoyed this tutorial. I will be uploading the final result to my Patreon, so keep an eye on that. And yeah, I'll see you guys next time. Thank you for watching.